We are back. There is Q2 GDP data that looks like we're in for a soft landing, but not so fast, my friends. There's a little bit more below the surface that we need to talk about. We will do all of that and more on today's show. Before we get going, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Nothing Kevin or I say is financial advice. We are not financial advisors. So please do your own research before making any buys or sells. Kevin, Q2 GDP first reading came in higher than expectations at 2.4%. Wall Street was celebrating to start the day. Everything was just a piss missile straight on up. We were heading for like the 15th straight day, 14th straight day of gains for the Dow. But then within the last hour, the market has taken a big old dookie and we are moving down on the day. What are you looking at right now? What are your thoughts on the market? Is this GDP data as bullish as everyone wants to make it out to be?
Yeah, man. I'm looking at the market right now. I was looking at crypto earlier, but obviously TradFi is giving me a little bit more excitement right now because those numbers were completely reversed this morning. But yeah, GDP, I think we looked at the data and you and I were talking about this before the show. It's not as rosy as everyone would like it to seem, right? Sure, 2.4% growth. Maybe that sounds good first revision, but when we look at the numbers deep down, there's a lot of bad stuff there. And I don't feel necessarily bullish looking at this if that's how we're, growing the economy for the US. I don't buy into this at all. So maybe that's why we're seeing a bit of this turnaround right now in the market, or maybe it's just because people are buying in at the top and this is exit liquidity, but definitely a wild day right at the end. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, let's talk about those numbers and what went into them. So, like I said, came in higher than expected. We were expecting to see 2% Q2 GDP. We got 2.4%. Increases are being led by consumer spending, government spending, private inventory investment, non-residential fixed investment. Let's talk about the consumer side of things first, because that to me is the most important one.
Yeah.
So let's differentiate between goods and services. Within services, the big gainers and what led to the increase was housing and utilities. I don't think that's great. Healthcare. I don't think that's great. Financial services and insurance, whatever. And then transportation services. So GDP went up because people are having to spend more money on basic ass necessities like housing, utilities, and transportation. That's not bullish, in my opinion. And I don't know if I'm like interpreting this wrong. Like someone maybe smarter than me could tell me. I don't think that's a great sign. Within goods, it was led by recreational goods and vehicles, as well as gasoline and other energies. Once again, more necessities. That is not like, we talk all the time about when we look at core PCE, core CPI, and they strip out food and energy. Those are included in there. So that tells me that we are going to see higher inflation in some of these next readings. Like I would be shocked tomorrow if we saw the decrease in core PCE that Wall Street is expecting. They're pricing in a 4.2% core PCE reading tomorrow. I'm willing to bet that the number comes in higher than that. I talked the other day that I had that ETH trade. I closed that out today because I don't feel good about these numbers. I don't feel good about the state of the market. I think that crypto, there's no one buying crypto right now. Things are overbought in TradFi. Like, dude, I don't know how, like,
you might be more bearish than me right now.
I'm trying to be as objective and rational as possible. But Ace, good to see you. We're talking about the GDP numbers and how what led to the increase in GDP is not nearly as bullish.
Numbers.
The numbers. This GDP increase being led, not by numbers that make me bullish. It's not like we're exporting more, right? We're actually exporting less. So once again, that to me is not a bullish indicator for the state of the economy here. I really don't know, Kevin, if I need to just go on an ayahuasca trip and reevaluate the markets in general. Maybe I go out to Joshua Tree in the desert and do a 48-hour water fast while smoking peyote, whatever the fuck it is. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And we're seeing that fall off right now. We saw the Dow just absolutely take a big old dump. We're seeing the VIX moving on up, which is, a nice relief,
the dollar
up almost 10% on the day. The dollar is on a nice run at 101.8. We're seeing a lot of these overvalued tech, now Netflix is coming down, Tesla's coming down, Microsoft's coming down, Meta is still up on the day because they did have strong earnings, but everything else is coming back down. And that to me is a sign that like maybe we are onto something. Yeah, Ace, I'm trying, man. Like I'm just trying to like be honest and help us all win here because I don't fucking know what people are smoking right now.
We're jacked.
Oh God, what I need right at this time is probably more caffeine.
Oh yeah, and some blow. But it's
more
definitely
caffeine. More
it's
caffeine.
Definitely crazy fucking day. I couldn't agree more with you, dude. It's I'm looking at these markets and why obviously we've seen how much the move has been to the upside, right? But now we're starting to see some things like the dollar. And a lot of people are saying that the dollar was dead, but it's like here's the thing with the markets. They tend to buy the top and they tend to short the bottom. And it's really fucked up when it happens because the people who've actually made the markets this way always win, right? That's why we're seeing someone who, like I was telling you, Bloomberg was saying that, this is the most amount of days that the Dow has been on a win streak since 1987. Just when people remember, 1987 was also one of the biggest crashes later in the year. So that's good to know. But also what I'm seeing here, it's just like the dollar was so oversold. And this is no different than what happened a few months, back in January when all stocks and, crypto was oversold. Obviously the value is going to go up, and we're seeing a lot of things go up in the economy, like obviously gas and oil. These things are going up. I mean, 3-month high for US oil. Brent just hit above 80. We're in a place where we're starting to see a lot of things go up in price. Groceries are going up. I have not seen groceries go down at all, right? I've seen everything pretty much stay stagnant, or if not, in some ways go up. And again, this is adding to the GDP data because people are spending more. That means that if that's considered growth, that doesn't mean that it's sustainable for consumers long term. It's absolutely fucked. Housing. There's not a lot of inventory of housing. There's more realtors than there are fucking properties that are listed. And that's not a good sign. That shows you that people are paying way too much for properties. And eventually, those properties are going to, there's going to be more supply that's added on. And once the supply hits the market, then no one's going to be buying at these absurd levels of prices. And we're going to see this more with, medium term properties right now, right? People are going to be going for those like 500K, maybe less than that. Anything above it, like the market's fucked for those, $1 million homes and shit like that. They're absolutely taking pay cuts in order for people to buy them. But for some of these, medium level homes, these are the ones that we're seeing the biggest squeeze on right now, where the price is just going up. Will it get to a point where it absolutely bursts? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you know 100%. And I mean, even me, I'm like, fuck it. Maybe if the market drops in some area where there's like no taxes, I'll be like, maybe I'll buy a house or something like that. Who knows? But right now, it's not the time, and we haven't seen the housing market give that break yet. And I think that's also adding to this, GDP number. None of this is great news. This is terrible for consumers. It might sound good for the headline that if you're running for president, might sound pretty good, but it definitely isn't good for your pockets going, forward.
It's funny. I saw a tweet to get today from, I can't pronounce their damn name, the Kobayashi letter, or whatever the hell their account is. I don't know if you saw this one. Kobayashi. It's basically putting what Ben Bernanke said back in January 2008 that the Fed is not forecasting a recession next to what Powell said yesterday that the Fed is not forecasting a recession. If you weren't around back then, guess what? We got a fucking recession. So it's just really funny.
Recession.
Yeah, we got absolutely just pounded. So, if history doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes, and this is just setting up to be an absolute, like, maybe it is, we've talked about like when people least expect it. This is setting up to be when people least expect it, that we see this GDP, maybe Q3 GDP continues to go up or Q2 as we get the readings. Maybe Q3 is strong as well, but at some point we're going to see it crack because the rise in GDP and what is leading to it is not sustainable. It just isn't. It's saying in here as well that there was an increase in savings. I guess so. It says that personal savings was up by 1/10 of a point over the previous quarter. Disposable income also up a little bit, but I mean, actually no, sorry. Disposable income increased 250 billion in the second quarter, which is actually a smaller increase than in the first quarter. So I'm trying to look at this here, but yeah, that's all I have to say about GDP. I'm just going off of my understanding of it and what I'm seeing here and trying to pick that apart to if I was seeing that exports had gone up, I would be much more bullish right now. I'd be like, okay, this is like we may be going in the right direction. But seeing that going down and seeing once again that people are going to spend more money on basic goods, and that's what led to an increase in inflation in GDP is just not doing it for me.
Here's the thing too with a lot of these, man. I mean, GDP's fucked. I honestly don't think that's, even if we do get a reading here and it seems positive, the underlying causes are just they're not bullish in any way. They're not sustainable. Let's put it that way for people to continue keeping GDP growing at this rate. Because again, a lot of it is government spending, but a lot of it is also consumers. I'm just looking at the stock market right now because everything's kind of, people are buying a little bit right now in the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was, at one point -50, negative around there. It's a -20 right now. It seems like people are starting to buy back on the close. What are we doing, guys? What are we fucking doing? It seems like every opportunity that they give you to buy, you do. And that's not a good thing sometimes. I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do, but it's like, come on, man. Well, I don't understand why people continue to buy the top before the drop. And this goes along with XRP, people who are buying at 94 cents. It's like, what are we doing, guys? I mean, again, you can hope long term, but this seems absolutely idiotic to me. That people are sold off for a reason today. The people who sold off aren't buying back in. Just so everyone knows, right? They're sold off for a fucking reason to take profit. I don't know. I'm just getting mad by volatility right now. I'm looking at the VIX. VIX is doing good, up 8.42%. The dollar came down a little bit since everyone's buying. Fucking Netflix is eating shit too, 414. I don't know. I'm just looking at the side of trading view right now, but I'm pissed. I'm a little bit pissed, and I'm like,
whatever. Send the fucking VIX to 40.
This guy
send the dollar to 110. Like, yeah, retail chases so much.
No, 122 for the dollar. I want to see 122. I want it to be that. I want people to realize that the dollar's not dead. We're seeing fucking inflation in Europe, and we're seeing their dollar go down. And if their dollar goes down, the U.S. dollar is going to go up because we're the world reserve currency, and because risk assets are bullshit. People are going to be putting their money in bonds and treasuries.
Dude,
and maybe even gold.
If you think that Jerome Powell's pressers are boring, you should try watching Christine Lagarde talk
ECD?
at 7 a.m. my time. As before I even had a cup of coffee, I was almost right back to sleep at my computer. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, can we get – well, they should have a proxy. They should have someone entertaining. They should get fucking Carrot Top out there for all I care.
Ricky Gervais
just read off a teleprompter. Get Ricky Gervais. That great idea.
And give him a wand too, so we know that he's in Britain because Harry Potter.
There you go. Perfect.
We should be in charge of the creative decisions.
Yeah, like I said, put me out there. I'll put on a goddamn show. It'll be like fucking Ringling Brothers. Jesus. All right, let's move on from here. We have some earnings coming in later today. Samsung, which we're expecting to be not very good. MasterCard, once again, we'll kind of see how the consumers are responding there. What do their delinquencies look like is something that I find really important at the moment. We're going to have McDonald's. I own McDonald's stock. It's been fucking great. Get me all the McGriddles I can handle. What else do you want to look at? Are there anything, interesting on the charts? Anything that we can kind of, anything actionable as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to take a look at a few stocks, or we can look at a few stocks. We can also look at some crypto.
Let's do it.
I want to pull up Chipotle. I don't know what happened, but yesterday and after hours, Chipotle ate shit. Maybe they started saying that they're going to charge you double for guac. I don't know. They might have had earnings too. I just didn't check, but I just remember seeing this chart yesterday. I was like, what the hell happened here? They opened up at 19.
They ever do a stock split? Like, why is their stock over 2K at one point? Like, that's ridiculous.
I know, man.
Do a stock split, Chipotle. Get together.
Honestly, they should. But Jim Cramer, I remember, was saying that Chipotle is great and ate shit. But yeah, this is a wild chart, and obviously this is the daily, but we got a massive gap down here to 18.19. We're down 9.21% today. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to push down. And let's put it this way: Chipotle is pretty pricey food, right? That's one thing we have to expect. I love Chipotle, don't get me wrong, but if I want to buy a burrito and a fucking drink, I don't want it to be $20. So I think a lot of people, this is one of those higher end fast food restaurants that might be seeing a bit of a squeeze from consumers. Maybe there are some, loyalists there, but it's not McDonald's. If that's what we're comparing it to. McDonald's, obviously cheaper food, you're going to get more value. not nutritional value, but you're going to get more bang for your buck with McDonald's, even though the prices are going up. And, it's just, I don't know. I don't necessarily see Chipotle, seeing as easy of a
So
time during a recession.
I remember vividly last year that Chipotle, in one of their earnings reports, they basically said that we're charging more, people are still buying it, so we're just going to keep upping the prices until people stop buying it as much. And I'm just like, that's a great business model, guys. Like, fucking fantastic. What could go wrong? What could
Yes.
possibly go wrong with that mindset, as opposed to, improving efficiencies or having new offerings? Nah, just jack that price on up. Like, what in God's name are these assholes doing?
I mean, you got a massive gap here all the way down to 1751, right? That's insane. Let's check the monthly. Monthly is probably monthly's completely overbought. Damn, Chipotle, you are fucked. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say that it is fucked, but it definitely looks terrible on the monthly if we're gonna be tracking this. Like, I don't know, man. We're probably gonna test that 50 moving average on the monthly in coming months, which is around 14, 13. I think a lot of these moving averages are going to be tested because I don't necessarily see something that great. You know, keeping Chipotle going up again, unless they print another trillion billion, I don't know how many dollars just to save the markets until 2024, 2025. This looks pretty crappy to me, and I
Yeah,
don't
it looks like
necessarily see it.
they reported second quarter sales below expectations.
Yeah, that's exactly
Results
the
were hurt
point.
by higher costs for beef, tortillas, dairy, and salsa,
Is
all
that not
things that are fairly important for the
food
for
industry?
Mexican food. So there you go.
Oh, I was trying to say for
Yeah,
the Mexicans, but yeah,
for Mexican.
yeah, we need that. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. And again, is that not another sign that inflation should be going higher because prices of goods are going up? Like food is going up. There's no question about that. Chipotle's, seeing that. And the one thing I fucking hate, and I hate this so much, is that we can't decide on what type of recession we're going to see. Is it going to be a soft landing, hard landing? Is it going to be a rolling recession? Is it going to be a no session? Is it going to be a vibe session? There's so many fucking terms out there. Let's just put
Don't
it.
get me. Do not bring up the vibe session shit. I cannot believe that you sent me that. Okay, there's some uh financial correspondent, whatever the fuck you want to
I
call
don't want
her,
to hate on anyone either,
who
too, but it's just annoying because this
it's
is what's
just
getting the spotlight for everyone. Hate it.
yeah, yeah. Like, you and I will probably never have an audience as big as hers. Let's just be very real, because
That's
we just
fine.
what
We
we
tell the
say
truth.
isn't sexy, and it's yeah, we speak the truth. We don't tell people what they want to hear. But the vibe session woman is just, I can't handle
Vibe
it. It's just,
session.
I feel it just I feel like I lose brain cells every time I watch those videos.
The greatest quote from The Big Short. The truth is like poetry, and everybody fucking hates poetry. And that's why we are here where we are. And yeah, so for all this food and how much is going up in prices, and that's why Chipotle is taking a shit. I expect that for a lot more companies going forward. Five Guys, I don't know if you're publicly traded, but I assume that your beef is going to be going up in price too. I'm sure you guys will just keep charging extremely high. But yeah, this is insane for Chipotle. I think that there's definitely some more room to the downside. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but a $200 drop in stock price is pretty significant. And I thought we had to take note of that. I want to also pull up oil real quick.
Yeah, real quick. I want to while we're speaking of the big short. I sent you this earlier.
Yes.
But I absolutely love it. People are donating thousands of dollars to TikTok streamers for saying ice cream's so good and you don't think there's a bubble.
Short the bank stocks.
It's just such. And I love Steve Carell in that movie, by the way.
Oh,
I
he's
watched
great.
it. I watched it on the flight home from California last week. That's my go-to movie on flights. It's like exactly
2 hours and 10
from
minutes.
where I'm at. Yeah, like a lot of the places I fly to is like 2 hours, and so it's like the perfect movie to watch. So good, but it is true. Until people no longer have money to donate to streamers, then we haven't reached the bottom yet. Okay, that'll be the bottom of that one. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's go back to oil.
Yeah, absolutely. Oil, again, I've been beating this fucking drum for the longest. I've been saying how oil is definitely due for push up. And I think that a lot of escalation that's going on in Europe is going to, cause oil to go up. Also, we have some of the lowest petroleum reserves right now in the United States. I don't know if they're being refilled or not. That's you have to ask someone in the White House. It's probably a question won't be answered anyways. But if we look at this right here, this is on the monthly. We can see that we're completely oversold on the monthly, right? And there is a scenario where I'm seeing this as being a corrective pattern where this could be one A wave. We're coming down for B wave, and we can see a C wave to the upside, right? Do I think it's going to go to 140? I don't know. That'd be fucking terrible, right? You'd be paying more than $5 a gallon for gas. But I definitely think that there is room to the upside. Maybe it's a flat correction, or where we hit the top, we'd get a double top at 128. But monthly looks ready to go to the upside. The weekly, you're already seeing some push to the upside. Again, this could fluctuate back and forth. I think that we are getting into a place where we're going to come down. Maybe we find some support on the 200 EMA, or maybe the 200 EMA follows us. But here's the thing, very similar to the dollar. If the U.S. oil starts to go up in price, it can 100% go up because there's fear in the markets. Something could be happening where it's going to be more expensive to transport oil. Maybe we're not going to see as much of a supply of it. There's really anything could push this thing up, but it's not, to me, necessarily a good sign if you're a bear on oil that we kind of put in this nice corrective pattern. We've kind of are just at the bottom of this range, and now we're starting to push up. We're pushing up above the 50 moving average currently. If we could start closing some weeks above the 50 moving average and then just kind of like trade above it or on it, it's a good sign that we're probably going to see maybe $100 a barrel again. I'm not saying it's going to, but it's very possible that, once we get above the 50 moving average on the weekly, we're kind of in a bear market. In a bull market for this. So keep an eye on that. I want to pull up what else. Let's go to, look at this fucking stupid shit. NASDAQ's at negative 15 right now. It's just a little bit of volatility at the end. Let's go to the dollar real quick. Dollar on the weekly, we can see we have plenty of room to the upside. We're going to get to close tomorrow. If we can close the dollar above 102.035, that'd be amazing. I would be, I'd be doing fucking naked backflips in my bathroom tonight. But clearly, it's going to happen tomorrow. But sorry, Joe, I gotta keep you on your feet. But this is. We're here where we came to the dollar on the weekly. We see that we hit the midline of this parallel channel, so we got rejected from that. So that's this shows that there's a bit of resistance here. But again, this is I'm a pattern guy. I'm looking at this. This is lower highs and lower lows. That's a bull flag in my opinion. We're going to push up at some point. We're obviously going to test the top of this parallel channel. I think at some point, whether this comes down a little bit more and we find the retest of that and we break through it. That remains to be seen. But if we can close above this midline right here, close above this 102.035, we're not that far off from it. PCE comes in fucking like hot as shit, like a hot pocket when you first bite into it, hotter than that, then guess what? That's going to be above 102. So if we don't hit expectations, or it's just a very lackluster or a very, bad reading, I think the dollar is going to be on its way above 102. We will need a correction at some point because we did move up pretty fast on the daily, but the weekly and the monthly, I'm honestly seeing plenty of room to the upside, and I think that we're in a good footing, like pattern right here, where we're going to see some more test of resistance rather than retest support. So that's what I'm seeing right here. Keep an eye on that. Let's get into crypto because crypto has been absolutely kind of shitty recently, right?
It's just boring
as fuck.
We are just,
but we know why, right?
Snooze right now because no one's buying it.
Exactly. And who's holding all the crypto right now? It's retail.
Idiots like me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, minus you. But it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane to see this. Like again, I'm like things are just so weird in crypto where I'm looking at patterns, but at the same time, I'm also looking at, indicators like the stochastic RSI. And then I have to also think about the psychology of where we are in terms of price action. And you're getting mixed signals, man. This is pretty intense if you're looking at this. Like obviously Bitcoin's coming down. It's, in this pattern where it's making lower lows and lower highs. I would anticipate this to break to the upside. But then if we look on the weekly, it looks like we're coming down a little bit. I think there's a little bit of room to the upside on the weekly. But, anything can happen. We could get bad news and just this fucking thing tanks. I know this is not the greatest thing for me to be saying right now because we want to know some direction where this is going. Let me put it this way. Macro, it's going down. The upside is very limited in my opinion. That's at least how I'm trading it. I can't tell you that it's going to be how it is. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but the fact that we're in the supply zone and every opportunity we get to that 31 level gets rejected, that tells me that, hey, if these people are keep buying it, they're going to keep selling it right at that level. They'll keep shorting it. I do see one scenario, and again, this goes in with my 34, 35K level, is that we are going to, come down here. We're finding some support on the bottom of the supply zone. I could see a scenario where we start pushing up, we get to there, and then maybe whales are the ones that push it up, because whales are not in this market right now. I don't do not get do not be mistaken by that. The reason that we're not pushing up in price is because no one's buying. If we look at the volumes and how low they are, you can't even see them on my chart. They're down here. The volumes back here at the beginning of this move are way greater back in March.
Can I get a magnifying glass to see that?
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. I gotta like zoom in all the way. But look at this. Look how bad these volumes are, and the price has been pushing up. This is absolutely low. This is why you're going to see things like KuCoin, Binance, all these exchanges are absolutely going to get hurt because they're not having enough volume. They make money off your trades, right? So if the price goes up or down, it doesn't matter, but the price isn't doing anything right now. So if you start seeing some violent moves, then maybe they start seeing some money. I do think that there is a scenario where, like I said, where whales push this up to get it to 34, 35K, and they just short the top all the way to the bottom. I think that's very possible. That's the only reason I'm like still bullish on that 34, 35K level. I think they're going to fill out that one gap. They're going to trap as many longs as possible, and then they're going to short it all the way down to hell. But yeah, Bitcoin.
So the move may have been to do it a couple days ago, but with that in mind, Coinbase reports in a week.
Yeah.
Is it time to short Coinbase? Are they, because they've had an amazing move up since June. I mean, if you look at it, it's up almost 100%. It was over 100% since June 14th. Is it time for that to correct and for us to just short the living hell out of Coinbase ahead of their earnings if we think that they're not going to be seeing as much trading revenue?
Here's the thing. I'm looking at the trading volumes here. Let me look on the weekly. It might be a better, look. Weekly volumes have definitely dropped significantly since November of last year. Everyone was starting to buy, obviously, at the bottom, which is, the right thing to do. But right here, we can see that the volumes have dropped off a pretty good amount for Bitcoin. And I'm assuming that Bitcoin is their number one traded asset. I would hope it's not SHIB or anything like that right now, because if it is, then yeah, this is definitely a fucking bubble. But Bitcoin, looking at this, let me look at Coinbase.
Doge is our top traded. It wouldn't shock me if Doge was up there.
All right, on the weekly, Coinbase
not higher than Bitcoin, but
extremely overbought on the weekly. Let's see the monthly. Oh, completely overbought on the monthly. Dude, this hasn't even moved and it's fucking overbought on the monthly. This is insane. I mean, obviously, if you bought the bottom like around, here or something like that, it's a pretty good move to the upside. But for the most part,
I think our buddy Mr. House bought it. I think in like the mid 50s or low 60s. Yeah. I think for him, and I'm not telling him what to do. And House, if you watch this back, make your own decisions, buddy. I think the gigabrain play is to just take that profit now and put it right back into shorting it. I think that is the move. That would be the balls of that's the balls of steel play that is going to make big returns in a market like this, if it works, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, here's the thing. I've also said this on Twitter repeatedly, and if you follow me, you know how I feel about Binance and stuff like that. There is a chance where Binance does collapse, and that's not the bottom of the bear market. That's a very real possibility. That's scary, right? Look at how FTX wasn't the end of the bear market. You could say it was, but for me to believe that it was the bottom of the bear market, we're seeing altcoins put in new lower lows, 2 weeks ago. I don't buy it. So I do think that the bear market bottom for crypto is not yet put in. I don't think it's been put in for the total market cap either. I pulled up the total market cap right now. This is total 3 because this is the one that's important to me, because I'm not counting for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those will eventually catch up in time and drag their end of the market down. But let's just look at alts in general. This is not a bullish pattern whatsoever. I mean, this is pretty negative PA, that the fact that we shot up here and then we just went right back down into this channel. We've been fighting this $350 billion level right now. We're below the 200 EMA. The thing that's really weird, though, is if we look at the stochastic RSI, we're completely oversold, right? That's what worries me, because I'm always like, ever since XRP shooting up that much, I'm always hesitant, because I'm like, maybe there's a squeeze coming. So I'm constantly looking at the funding rates. I'm looking at everything in terms of what could push this up. But then if I look at the weekly, this thing's almost completely overbought, right? And the bad thing is, we haven't even tested the 50 moving average. We're getting rejected by the 200, right? And if this starts to move to the downside, that 50 is following, man. That 200, you're going to get your first death cross of, altcoins in this entire bear market. That is not a great look. That is actually pretty fucking scary, right? Yeah, this guy knows what's up. Ace, total 3, absolutely banger chart.
Kev, I know you're working on some drops to incorporate into the show for added production value. I think we need a death cross one.
Death
I
cross.
think it needs to be like
a video.
Death cross, like something like or like you can go that direction. We can go a high pitched one, whichever. But I think a death cross drop to throw in is probably needed.
We'll have Michael Burry holding the X, or maybe we could even have Elon stealing it from someone. Who knows? But yeah. This is insane right here. This chart, like I think that's what really freaks me out. Like this daily, like I think, oh yeah, maybe it's gonna push up. Maybe we test the upper limits of this. But I'm like, is there enough money and for retail to come in and push this up? I don't think institutions are here to play with fucking altcoins right now. I don't think they are. I think you might have some, people who have some money and want to fucking liquidate some people in the altcoin market because they know it's a liquid and it's easy to push the price up or down and fuck people out of positions. But if you're looking at Larry Fink, and I think that's the guy from BlackRock, right? Fink. This guy is telling you about how important this shit is, right? How Bitcoin's going to be the future. Then why the fuck isn't Bitcoin going up past 31K? He's not buying. He's trying to get you to buy so he could short this shit all the way down and then buy it from you when it's at fucking 9,700.
Yeah, no, they bought it last summer at like 15K.
Exactly.
They're taking their 2x on, their 100% return on it, and now they're going to short it into the fucking ground. Like, do not ever trust a word from BlackRock. Like,
anyone,
just Google BlackRock and market manipulation, and you are going to understand what I'm talking about. Like, just if they're talking about it, it's already too late to get out. Probably, like you're probably already fucked. Like we talk about people like the residential real estate market, and I'm not trying to get off on a tangent here. BlackRock bought up like so many homes. Like Larry Fink is trying to basically like own half of the country. It's just pushing people into like. We're going back to the days of serfdom, for Christ's sake, and Uncle Larry is ruling overall. That's where we're going to. So that's my reference of the day. There you go.
Last thing I'm going to show you is this fucking XRP chart, right? We talked about it a few days ago. We're seeing these patterns, right? These go up and then they break down, then they go up a little bit. But I think the move to the downside is likely here. I don't know what type of pattern this is yet. This might be an XYZ or an XYXZ. It's fucking crazy pattern, but I'm seeing this where it's one wave down, one wave up, one wave down, smaller wave up, then we break into this level. I'm charting sub 60 cent for where this breaks into. And again, maybe it does trade above it for a period of time, but I think XRP is another one where it's like when that news broke, that was just a perfect event to liquidate everything and get people into this market. I don't necessarily see the growth for XRP here. Maybe, over the next few weeks and months, there is room to the upside. But the fact that it shot up to 94 cents and we're currently sitting here at 71 cents and we went all the way down to 67 cents tells me that, this ain't no fucking bull market. This is a 100% a scam pump. Maybe it had to hit this target ratio at some point, and it did pretty well. But if we look on the weekly, this is completely overbought. We're going to see another week where it's probably going to curve into the overbought, and it's going to be a slow move to the downside. I would watch the momentum on the weekly for XRP because if you start to see this barely move, and we've already retraced a good amount from where the height of this move was, that tells me that there's a good amount of room to the downside, and you're going to be back in this parallel channel. And again, if these structures hold and everything else in the market goes tits up, this is going to break, and you're probably going to be seeing the likes of sub 28 cent. My target's obviously, you guys know, 22 to 17 cent XRP. And this is why, I've told people that you don't want to get into things that are absolutely extremely volatile or buy into them. And again, I had no exposure to XRP, and you saw how it just fucked everything in that market that day, right? And yeah, it's a good thing to know. Like, it's good that it happens because then you realize that, okay, this market is a liquid in some ways where it's going to push up, and then right after, everyone's taking profit. If they truly believed in XRP, they wouldn't be taking profit, right? I think that we would have saw a little bit more price stability up at some of those levels. We didn't. Now we're back at the 72 cent level, and we're probably going to be breaking down from there fairly soon to test some of those lower 60 cent levels. So that's what I'm seeing. But again, it just shows you this market isn't exactly what it seems all the time, despite what everyone else tells you. XRP might not be a security, but it sure as hell ain't bullish right now from what I'm seeing. So just a few words on that. And obviously just to be careful because tomorrow is going to be a pretty volatile day in my opinion, and I'm fucking excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Like I said, I think my prediction is going to be core PCE comes in at 4.4%. I think we're going to come in lower than last time, but I think it's going to be above expectations, and I think the market is not going to respond favorably. I'm happy that I closed out my ETH position. I think it is coming back down, and we're seeing the VIX start to. Oh, the VIX is closing in on 15. It's getting closer. It's going to get there.
9%, not bad.
Yeah, it's what I'm seeing is it's up like 11% on the day. I'll take it.
Was it really?
Yeah, that's what it's showing up on my end. 14.66 up 1.48 points, 11.23%. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place to close out the week. We're going to talk about the PCE data, talk about how the markets are responding, what that's going to mean moving forward. We'll look a little bit ahead to the following week, some more earnings, some more economic data. It's a fun time in the markets. It's very easy to get complacent right now and get bored with what's happening in crypto.
Be safe too. Like, cover your ass.
Be safe.
That's all I can say. Stay solvent.
Don't be over invested. Keep stacking cash. There's going to be generational buying opportunities in the somewhat near future, I hope. That's our expectation. So just stay smart out there. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Looking forward to backflips. Fucking love you guys.
I'll put in the intro.
Randy, Ace, appreciate you guys being here as always. If you have not yet, hit those buttons down below. Like, subscribe, comment, share on social media, all those things. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
Take care, everyone.